Today, in my tiny house art space, I have a couple of projects I am working on and cleaning up, putting away things that are sitting around for way too long. So I want to share with you these projects that I am working on. One of them is some awesome materials that I just received from my local stamp club. I want to show you what they are and what I'm going to do with them. And the second thing is I've got some really awesome costume jewelry, and I'm going to show you what I want to do with them. So I am a member of my local stamp club, the San Jose Stamp Club. I don't participate in many of the events, but I help them with preparing their mailing materials that go out to the membership. So I work on some of their digital files, like preparing some of their postcards or program brochures for upcoming events, things like that. The stamp club president knows that I do collage with vintage papers, and so sometimes he sets aside things that he thinks might be of interest to me. So after I finished working on their postcard for their upcoming stamp show, I got a bunch of materials. So here's what I got. I haven't really looked through it yet. I don't know what's in this bag, so I want to show you everything I have and figure out some things that I can do with it. So first of all, the postage stamp history and recognition. I don't think I can do anything with this, so I think I will donate it to my local library. This is a album, empty album, where somebody had a stamp collection at some point. This is kind of crusty, musty, not in great shape, so I'm not sure if I will keep that one. But there is a second one that is quite nice. It's a little bit of tearing there, but I think I can fix that. Same thing, but really clean inside. So this is really nice. I think I want to put some stamps in here. Let's see what this is. So these are just, I guess, brochures for ordering stamps back in the day, probably 1960s. I've got a bunch of these already. The pages themselves are super thin, so they're really good for collage. So I like that. And it's got some really nice type in here and columns of things, so I like using these a lot. A couple of envelopes. Is there a pattern inside? Oh, kind of a light purple color. This is kind of printed on a nice cardstock, so I maybe can do some collaging in this trifold. That would be good. Be a Guest of the West in '39, Golden Gate International Exposition. That's cool. I like that. A price checklist. More stamps, another price list, 1939. Okay, so sure, lots of good things there. Here's another little stamp album, or what are these called? Stock book. This is a stock book. It's only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages in them, which is nice. And I've already got an idea what I want to do with this. Let me move this out of the way. So I have a bunch of these trade cards, these cigarette trades cards, and I want to be able to put them in something so that I can see what they are. So let me see if they fit in here. How does this work? How deep can they go, and will they hold? Will they stay? Looks like this book was never used, so it's kind of hard to get open the little slots, but this is my idea, to use it this way. I like I like the idea of being able to see very quickly what some of these things are, what these images are, and I can always do them separate them into topics. Oh, there's even nothing on that back side. Okay, so it's just one side only. So for example, if I want to do architecture here, here's another architecture, and this one, you know, maybe I could do this, something like this, and then I could do another page with animals and people, whatever I want. So that is what I was thinking to do with this. So I will leave these in here for now and finish this later. I also got a few loose pieces, so this is really awesome, and I think I want to put this in my little glue book right away. So I'm going to put it in here, but let me see what else I have on my desk here. So these are about 1930s US stamps. These are stock transfer orders. So there was a special stamp that was issued for trading stocks, I guess. And so these are a whole bunch of those orders. So from 1930. So I will see what I can do on some of these gross things, dried rubber bands. But these could be cool that I could do, I could put in some of my art. And then I have this page full of collected airmail stamps from different places: Netherlands, Norway, Ireland, Italy, Israel, Lebanon. That's cool. I'm not sure. Maybe I can scan this and use it for something. They're all taped over with kind of like Scotch tape, so I don't think that I can realistically take this off. We'll see. And a few more loose ones, which I can put into a collage or two. But let me do this. Let me find a spot for this right now. So let's see. I will tear apart some of this and possibly some of the sides, but let me find where it's going to go first. Let's see. I need a nice big page here. Maybe here? This might be good. Let's see what fits. Okay, so it needs to be kind of close to the edge. I'll just take this, and then on this side, I guess it can kind of hang off the edge just a tiny little bit. Let's see. I'm going to, do I want to try and preserve that? I guess I should. Let's see. There we go. Let's see if I can add any of these. Probably not. I didn't think of it ahead of time. I could put this one down here. Now, another thing that was in this set of materials is this United States coin book. And looking through it, these are awesome images of coins. I love this. I'm excited about using this because I love coins, and the photography in here is just high quality, very, very good. So why shouldn't I cut out some of these and use them in a collage? So for example, take this out right here. Let's see what I can do with a couple of these coins. Ooh, they're nice on both sides. Darn it, I hate when that happens. Okay, so I think I want these two here, and maybe this one. So first step obviously is to fussy cut the coins. Maybe I can pay my kids to do a bunch of these for me, because this is not my favorite part at all. All right, now let's find a space in my glue book. You know what, I think I like this little page right here. Now, what do I want to do with this? Now, if I take that and then look for some interesting papers, perhaps. This, I think, was a piece from a stationery set, for like an envelope, for example. So I will just put that there like that. I don't think I'm going to put all the coins on. I can always double them up, maybe like that. That's kind of cute. For me, these are honestly more fun than the actual, having the actual coin itself. If I had the actual coins, they're obviously very valuable, but what do you do with them, right? You put them in a drawer somewhere and they are hidden, or they go in a safety deposit box, or something, because they are very valuable. But with these, it's paper and you can play with it. So that's what the fun thing is. Cut off these little edges. Does this fit here? Yes, it does. There we go. So, very simple collage. Just playing with paper. So imagine all the fun I'm going to have with this. So thanks so much, San Jose Stamp Club. Now, it's getting closer to the holidays, and every year there is a artisan fair at one of our local organizations. They have these, just a lot of booths of really creative things that people create, and I got some really awesome stuff. One creative friend that I have who had a booth at the artisan fair, her name's Roberta Tamino, and she creates things with vintage pieces, and she did these earrings and she calls them chandeliers. Light art for your ears. Be a standout with chandeliers. They are absolutely darling. I love these. So I got 2 sets because they were just, I couldn't decide between silver and not silver. So I got 1 of each. Now, I'm not someone who wears a lot of costume jewelry. I have 1 pair of earrings that I just keep in. I don't take them out, rarely. So I thought about what I want to do with these, and I actually want to hang them up in my creative space here. I love costume jewelry, and I like inexpensive jewelry that looks pretty in general, right? Affordable things. I prefer it more than the really, really fancy stuff because, you might worry you'll lose it or it's gonna break and, all this stuff. So I don't wear fancy stuff, but Costume jewelry is fun, but what's even more fun, I think, is to display it, is to hang it and to have it around you so that you can see it and appreciate it. I don't necessarily wear necklaces and bracelets and things, but I love seeing them in my space. So what I want to do with these is I'm going to take off the part for the ears and I'm going to hang up the pendants. So where should I put them? I have got a nail and my little hammer. And what I was thinking of is this space, hanging it somewhere here in my green shelf. So I love hanging things around my creative space, and I love collecting small little, I don't know what they're called, just trinkets or pendants or things that I can look at and appreciate and have in my space. So I have this little set of trinkets here that now that I'm looking at, I see that I need to, or that I want to polish this up a little bit. It got tarnished or it's got the patina on it, but I think I do want to have it shined up a little bit. So let me do that. I've got this old baking tin that I can use. I want to put this in here and use this soft cleanser, Barkeeper's Friend. This is good stuff, but it's very strong, so I have to wear gloves with this. But let me just pour a little tiny bit. Oops, that's plenty right there. All right. So here it is. So much better. Now, one of the charms that is on this is this Austrian groschen. It's a coin from well, it's 1996, so not that long ago. But the reason why I have it is to remind me of a couple of things. So I lived in Austria in 2001, and when I lived there, I remember hearing about the euro and how the euro was coming, and the idea was that, you know, all these European countries, they needed to work together to have a common currency so that, you know, for trade and for tourism and, you know, all the things to make it easier for exchange of goods and services, right? To have a single currency. And at the time when I heard about it, or when I first heard about it, I thought, there's no way. This is never gonna happen. Never, never, never. Why? Because countries' currency is like a national pride, right? And I could not imagine that in France they would give up the French franc, or in Germany they would give up the Deutschmark, or whatever, you know, currency is in every single one of these countries. I thought, there's just no way. There's too much history there with the currency. You know, it just wasn't going to happen. So then when it actually did happen, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And I was there in Austria when it switched over to the euro. And I remember going to the bank and picking up one of these starter packets. So this was in 2001, and you would get a little packet of coins. So this was 200 shillings worth 14 euros 54 cents. So this was for your first purchase in the year 2002. And I got these and I kept these because I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe that they actually did it. They actually did it. These countries, the leaders from these countries got together and agreed that this was in the best interest for the whole European Union to do this. And they got it done. And it just makes me think that, you know, we can do hard things. We can do things that at first people think would never happen. And if you constantly talk about it and talk about the benefits and how great it is, eventually people will come around and they will work towards doing it. So that is what I have with this groschen. Now, it got me thinking about in the United States back, gosh, I must have been maybe 7 or 8 years old. I remember I was little. I was very little. So that was in the late 70s and early 80s. There was this movement to have us in the US change our system to the metric system, right? We were supposed to change from miles to kilometers, and we were supposed to change from feet and inches to centimeters and meters. And I remember as a child, my grandparents lived in Los Angeles, and we would drive from San Diego to Los Angeles, and on the freeway there was a big sign, the freeway sign that says how many miles to the destination. And I remember seeing 57 miles to Los Angeles, and then it said whatever, 78 or 80 kilometers, however many, underneath that. And road signs started to show both miles and kilometers. And I was like, wow, this is new. And so there was this push in the United States to do this, but it did not go through. Apparently there was so much pushback from I don't know who through Congress that it was eventually scrapped. It's one of those things where I think about, you know what, we can do hard things. If we really wanted to, we could switch over to the metric system. If we really wanted to, and we really put our minds to it. And I found this book at in a secondhand store with this Metric Man activity book. And I thought it was so funny because here, you know, it's trying to get kids enthusiastic about changing to the system, about changing. So, familiar things will be seen with new measurements on them. A gallon of apple cider will now be a 4-liter container. A quart of milk will now be a 1-liter container. Individual bottles will be in 500 milliliter containers. How exciting! Right? And we use grams and kilograms. And we're going to switch from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Down with miles, up with kilometers. Fahrenheit is out, Celsius is in, right? I thought this was just hilarious when I saw this because it did not turn out to be that way. So this little groschen sticks with me and reminds me that we can do hard things if we really want to. Where there is a will, there is a way. And where there is a way that will benefit most people, the larger group of people, then it's definitely something to consider and to put forward. So in my little tin, I also have the starter pack for Slovakia. So this was a couple of years later. This was 2009. And in my old passport, I also keep my old Austrian shillings, my old Slovak crowns, and in the Czech Republic, they have not gone to the euro yet. They are still using Czech crowns. So I like having this little set of 3. I don't have a 20 euro. I should have the euro in here too, but that's a lot of money. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button and let me know in the comments what special things do you have sitting on shelves, hanging on your wall that brings you joy and that you like seeing in your creative space. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you the next time.